Folks, this live stream is brought to you by my sponsor AAA FX. Now, they're a fully regulated broker in Europe and South Africa offering Forex indices, commodities, crypto, and over 100 stocks. Now, at AAA FX, you pay no commission on any Forex pair using their ECN Plus account and low commissions on cryptos and stocks. Plus, you can deposit with cash or crypto, get a free VPS with deposits over 5K, and easily integrate the well-known copy trade service Zulu Trade. While you're waiting for the stream to start, go and check them out by clicking the link in the description, comments, or visit AAAFX.com.
Oops. Okay. Wow. So we can see that we've got many active members. Fantastic. Okay, great. So that's like that. Like this was a test to see who is live, right? So you can hear me right now, right? Just let me know, and I repeat the intro all over again. Okay, fantastic. Wow, so many people on board today. No sound, no sound. Hello, Patil, Anthony. Wow, fantastic. Okay, I guess you can hear me now. Rory, that's it. Boom. Okay, let's do it. I'll repeat the intro all over again. Okay, so for those who don't know me, I'm Richard. Also, you can know me as the Signalist. I go here every month and I give you a quick overview about the entire market. As you can see from my watch list on the right, I'll go over the XY first to feel the overall market. Then we'll go over a couple of Forex pairs like EURUSD, NZD, gold, and so on. So if you want me to go over a specific Forex pair, feel free to request it and I will add it here. Next, we'll go over the indices, US 500, US 100, 30, and so on. And of course, oil, since someone requested it last month. So I'll keep updating this one because, of course, we have to keep an eye on gold because, like, if gold goes up, everything goes down, and so on. And you can clearly see that we'll also cover the crypto market. Of course, the main ones, USD dominance, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and if we have time, we'll go over some altcoins. Of course, feel free to request any asset and I'll add it to the appropriate section. But first, let's start with the XY and the Forex pairs. Let me check the comments real quick before. Wow, so many comments. Dion, hope you're doing good. Yeah, I'm going here like live every 1 month. Newspaper on the wall at the back. Yes. It's simply glue. I put glue on the wall and you can you stick newspapers to it. Okay. Fantastic. I mean, hope you're doing good. Cheers. And cheers for the we don't have USD CAD on the list? No, we don't. So GP, JPY, gold. Okay, so many requests today. Gold, of course, we go all gold. As you can see, it's the fourth one. Okay, you know what? I'll go over the list that I have now because because like if you cover NZD, USD, like it's more probably you will feel USD CAD. But anyway, we'll go over USD CAD as well. For JPY pairs, we already have AUD, JPY, USD, JPY, but I'll try my best to go over it as well. So let's do it. We can clearly see on the XY, it's very important to keep an eye on it. Like no matter which market you trade, like it's very, very important to check the DXY. And as you clearly see, the XY has been going up like crazy, right? So we got this aggressive movement upward, and it's not like it's very common for the XY. For example, you can check this projection. If you drag and drop it, that's it, right? So it's very common for the XY to make such big movements, as you can see, in the same direction for a long period of time. And this is monthly, monthly time frame. So the exact same projection here and here as well. So just from this projection, you can clearly feel that we are already overbought. But of course, that doesn't mean that the XY will go down now. Of course, we always follow our rules and we check or we monitor, locate key rejection areas where we will try to look for a reversal. In our case, for the XY, we are approaching the 110 round number. So the strongest round numbers here are, of course, the 90, 100, 110 now, and of course, the 120. And as you can see, 110 and 120 levels are lining up with the support and resistance and this support and resistance, or if you want, the previous major high or previous major low. And we can clearly see that this 110 has been acting as a resistance previously, broken upward, now a support, broken downward, now a resistance. So price has been respecting the 110, and you can clearly see that price is currently sitting around it. Of course, unless we break it upward, it wouldn't be good. We'll be expecting an overextended impulse movement, further movement upwards. Second, we've got this supply zone, as we had an aggressive movement down from here, and then we had a base, right? And then we had a drop again. So that's a base drop, base drop, okay, which is a supply zone. And this is the upper bound of the supply. That's, yes, it's a big supply. And now the 110 happens to be not only a support and resistance, but also the upper bound of the supply zone. So if the 110 will not hold, we would have a problem here. We would have a big bullish movement upward. But let's take it step by step. We are still around this area. And if you zoom into weekly time frame, we can feel it even more that, okay, we are on a bullish trend, but okay, the bear seems to be kicking more and more. Every second impulse movement upward, the bear seems to be kicking. And how do we feel that? It's very simple. When we have an impulse movement, as you can see, we got a flat correction, and then we had an impulse movement, a flat correction. By flat, I mean like this, a horizontal one, which means that the buyers are very strong, or were very strong, not even letting the bears make a classic falling correction, instead just going flat. Okay, so this is how you feel the market, that how strong are the bulls now, or who is currently in control and how aggressive they are. So flat, or like as you can see here, a rising correction, which is even like stronger than a flat correction. Anyway, small and flat, or even rising, but starting from here, we got a falling correction. And if you compare this one to this one is bigger, right? So the correction movements are getting bigger in size, which means that the bears are kicking. However, the bulls are still in control, since we are still making higher highs and higher lows. So we had an impulse correction, and we are currently in the impulse, in the making of the impulse, speculating a correction from here, just like the previous two. Of course, for if the bears would take over. For now, it's still an impulse. We can still trade higher. If we trade higher, we'll have the correction like this, and we'll keep on trading higher. This is from a short-term, of course, like long-term perspective, or yes, like from a short-term bearish trend. For the bears to take over from a long-term perspective, that's our last major low from weekly time frame. So to have the shift in momentum and to finally say that now we are in a whole bearish trend, we are in a whole reversal in the market, whether in indices, whether in crypto market. So to say that we are now like from bullish to bearish finally, or vice versa, of course, like for example on Euro USD from bearish to bullish, right? You've got the idea. We'll need to see a break below this major low, or if we form a new major low here and break it downwards. Okay, so now we are simply speculating a bearish correction movement. And of course, this would be it from daily. If we trade lower, this would be the correction, and then the next impulse movement might start, unless we break it downward, as mentioned, from weekly time frame. But now, let's take it step by step, right? So impulse, correction, impulse, correction. We are speculating the correction to start from here, or to trade a little bit higher, rejected with a couple of wicks before trading lower. So we want to know when the bears will take over. If you zoom into H4 time frame, we know that we are still in a bullish trend. Impulse, flat correction. The bulls are very strong. Impulse, a falling correction, but it's still a small one. But you know that the bears are trying to kick in stronger than before. And now we are inside this flat impulse movement. And how do you know it's flat? Or you can simply compare it to the previous ones. So a steep, and look at this one, right? So with multiple swings inside it, which is forming a wedge pattern, which is a bearish reversal pattern, and so on. Okay, but of course, again and again, no matter if the impulse movements are getting flat and the correction are getting stronger and kicking down, doesn't mean that the bears are taking over just yet. For the bears to take over, we need to see first a break below this wedge pattern. We can see it even better from H1 time frame. So like that's how you zoom in from monthly to H1 to know where you currently are. And like as you can clearly see, I spend more time usually on the XY because like once you understand what's happening on the XY, you feel the entire market. Of course, like next will get quicker and quicker. Okay, so for the XY, first of all, this is our last major low, of course, from H1. So for the best to take over, we need to see a break below it. Or if now this low is formed, for example, you can like fix your trend line. Of course, it's an entire zone, so you should treat it like an entire zone and not a laser level. Okay, so of course, but you've got the idea. For example, like this is it. For the bears to take over here, we need to see this low getting bigger for it to be a major low, and then a break below it. Or of course, if we form a new low and so on, then this will be our major low. So long story short, around the resistance 110, a very strong rejection number. If it's broken upward, we'll be expecting further movement upward. If it's like for now, price is sitting around it. As you can see, we've got a couple of wicks. We've got a gap here that price filled it, and a wick now. We might fill this wick before we trade lower, maybe form a double top and so on. Anyway, for the break to take over, we need to see a break below this trend line and a last major swing low. Okay, so that's basically it for the DXY. Okay, I see Bitcoin dropping to 5K, maybe. Anyway, we'll check it out in a bit. S&P 500, of course, we'll go over it. It's the first one in our indices. Dayon, how to join RichTL? You can simply go to the website richtl.com. Let me write it to you, like because like I do official website. It's like simply this one. Oops, yeah. Okay, so rich, okay, like me, and tl.com, and you can use the coupon trading nut. Oops, trading nut. Okay, and if you use this coupon like while on the checkout, you'll benefit from $100 off. Okay, so make sure to use this coupon trading nut. Okay. Hello, Tov. Hope you're doing good. Yes, JPY. Of course, we'll go over it. Like now, I got USD and then USD JPY and then gold. Okay. Now, since we know where we are in the market, let's go for USD, which is usually the exact opposite, right? As you clearly see, for example, daily time frame while rising in a rising trend on the XY and a falling trend on EURUSD, around the support on EURUSD, around the resistance on the XY. If you go to monthly time frame, the exact same logic. We have a demand zone here, like vice versa. On the XY, we have a supply zone. It's a rally base rally instead of a drop base drop. So that's a massive demand zone that price hasn't filled yet, and it's currently, or now, price has been sitting around it for a couple of weeks, and it's also a resistance turned into a support. So this is an entire area, as you clearly see. We'll be looking for, by stop speculating, a bullish correction, because we broke below these lows here. Just like the XY, if you noticed, we broke above these highs here. So if we trade lower, this would be our first support, which is also at a demand zone, as inside this big bullish trend. Okay, this is the latest bearish candle, or the only bearish candle, as you can see from this big impulse movement. Okay, anyway, anyway, we already spent so much time on the XY, so let's not get back to it. On EURUSD, around the one round number, we broke it downward. However, as you clearly see, we've got wicks. So we got a wick, we tried to fill it, we filled it, we traded lower, and now we filled it, we are also trading lower. So that sorry, as you can see, like these wicks are like acting as breaks. So like breaks, like not letting like the price like close as a full momentum candle below this area. We are still sitting here. As long as we are here, we are still, or the bulls can still kick in and trade higher to make this correction movement. From weekly time frame, we can see it even better. We can see a whole bearish trend. So again and again, we are only trading or speculating a correction for now. Okay, like just like previously, around this support, again and again. Okay, so correction, impulse breaking below the support, correction, breaking below the support, and so on. Okay, so correction, and now we might break below the support downward, but for now we are speculating a correction till this last swing high, which is also a supply zone. If we trade higher, we'll be looking for sell setups, of course, or for the bulls to take over. Of course, like to have a shift in momentum from bearish to bullish, we need to see a break above the last major high, which is currently here around 1.05. If we break it upward, in this case, we'll be circulating a bullish trend. But of course, let's take it step by step. Are currently bearish, so if you are in a bearish trend, every bullish movement would be a correction, where we'll be looking for trend following sell setups. If you go to daily time frame, I can't really add much, except that this is a very clean channel that the price has been respecting multiple times. So of course, as price trades higher, we'll be looking for a trend following sell, and we got this horizontal support and resistance, as I showed you from weekly time frame. So for now, EURUSD has been stuck inside this range. We've got a resistance here, we've got a support here. So in my opinion, we are currently sitting in the middle of nowhere, and like in the middle of nowhere, or in no man's land. I'm not interested in looking for setups. So I'll be waiting for EURUSD to approach this resistance again, to look for a trend following sell, or to approach this support area, which is also lining up with this lower blue, sorry, what is it here? So the lower blue trend line and the lower orange trend line acting as an oversold area, in my opinion. So if we trade lower here, we'll be looking for this correction again and again, correction movement, just like the previous ones. And if you trade higher, we'll be looking for a trend following sell. So if you zoom into lower time frames, I can't really add much, as mentioned. Just like here, we are stuck inside a range. Okay, so I'm simply, long story short, waiting for this to look for a buy, waiting for this to look for a sell. That's it for Euro USD. On NZD, a very similar scenario. We are currently around or trying to break this support zone downward. We had a wick, the price filled. We also have this short-term wick that price is also trying to fill, and we might, though the bulls might still be able to break this zone upward, unless we have a big another big daily candle close below this wick. Okay, so let me show you in a cleaner manner. So this is the wick that I'm looking for. Okay, If we have a daily candle close below it, then this support will be confirmed to be broken downward, and we'll be expecting further movement downward till where? Till our next rejection, which would be around 0.59, which is the start of this demand zone. So we are currently also diving inside the demand zone, but we are also around a support area. If you go to daily time frame, of course, we are also bearish. So of course, the best setups would be if we trade higher around this area here, supply, support and resistance previously, we'll be looking for a trend following sell, also lining up with the upper trend line. For now, we are approaching the lower bound around this previous low inside the support zone. We'll be looking for buy setups. Meanwhile, we are bearish, as you clearly see from a short-term and long-term perspective. If you break below this wick, as mentioned from weekly, we'll be speculating a bearish trend. So if we break it downward, instead on the retest, of course, I'll be removing this one. I'll be adding this one like this. Okay. So on the retest of it, of the zone, oops, not this one, this one, I'll be looking for trend following setups from here. But for now, I'll keep it as is. Let me remove this one, I'll like this, and that's it. So on H4 time frame, we are clearly bearish, making lower highs and lower lows. As you can see, price failed to break above the previous high multiple times, and we are currently trading lower. This is our last major high for now. From H4 time frame, you can see it even better from H1 time frame. And as you can see, I got my alert right here. So we've got a channel, and we are waiting for the last major high, as mentioned from sorry, uh, as mentioned from H4 time frame. If you break it higher, we'll be expecting a bullish movement from here. And of course, here we go. The entry would be here, the stop loss would be to the previous low, and we target at least a 1 to 2, or it depends on risk management, 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio. Let me check the comments real quick. Hello Jay, hope you're doing good. Okay, let's move forward. Give me a sec. Okay. Check everything's working properly. Yeah. Okay, on gold. Many of you requested gold, so let's do it. If you go to weekly time frame, we are currently around a very, very strong area, which is the 1700. Let me delete this one to keep it clean. Here we go. So we've got multiple rejections from it previously, a resistance broken upward, multiple rejections from, and of course lately as well. So we are currently retesting the zone. Yes, we are bearish from a, if you want daily perspective, you can see it better. If you want, here we go, broke through the previous low, impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse, and we are currently in this impulse movement there, right? Okay. So we are bearish, yes, we already know that. And if we break below this this previous low, in this case, the low would be broken just like previously. So a classic break, retest to it, trade lower. A classic break, retest to it, trade lower. So we'll be expecting the same. Here we go, a classic break, retest to it, and trade lower. Okay, if and only if we break below this entire zone. As you can see, we've got multiple wicks. That's why I made the zone a little bit higher to the 1.667. Okay, if you break it down, it wouldn't be good for gold. We'll be expecting further movement downward till this demand zone. We can see it better if we zoom out. Okay, this demand zone, which would be the 1500 round number, which is a strong round number. If you zoom out even more, we can see that we are currently trading inside a giant wedge pattern. So impulse correction, impulse, and if we break below this, we'll start the big correction, and this would be the zone that we'll be looking for the next impulse movement upward, which would result in a higher high. Okay, of course, in a from a long-term perspective. So that's it. Meanwhile, let's take it step by step. Let's zoom in again. Okay, and we are around the support. Okay, so let's look for buy setups for now from a short-term perspective. And yeah, we previously rejected the previous low, the supply zone, and so on. We traded lower. We broke below the 1750 support. Now it's a resistance. So as we are approaching or diving inside the support, we'll be looking for buy setups. If you zoom into, sorry. Okay, if we zoom into H4 time frame, we are currently forming the third swing, if you want. Okay, it's an entire zone. The trend line should be treated, as I always say, as a big zone like this. Okay, not like just like a support and resistance, not a laser level. It's an entire area just to feel. Okay, just to feel the overall like the overall direction or movement. So as you can see from the projection, I'm waiting for a break not only above the previous high but also above the trend line, which is holding or like showing us the overall direction. We previously were bullish. Okay, we broke below the minor low, major low, we traded higher. We've got our impulse, correction, impulse, and we are currently in this correction. We might start the next impulse movement downward, but since I'm looking for buy setups on gold, I'm waiting for this, as mentioned, from the projection, waiting for a new swing high to form around the trend line, and then if it's broken up, as you can see inside the 1700 support, let me zoom out. Here we go, just like previously. I'll be looking for buy setups just like this, for example, and I'll be buying here, stop loss here, and we target a 1 to 2 or even more. Now, from a shorter term perspective, if you zoom even lower, as we approach this trend line, because we are in a bearish trend from H4, we want to catch also this bearish movement. But I wanted to approach the upper trend line like this as much as possible, because we also got these lows and highs here. So if we trade higher from here and form any bearish reversal setup, I'll be entering a sell. I don't want to sell here around the 1700. And yes, it's an entire zone, but I don't want to to sell around the 1700. Okay, so it's better for the price to trade higher, to give it some room to to reach 1 hour or even more before reaching the 1700. Okay, so that's my trading plan for gold. If you trade lower from here, it would be fine. I'll be waiting for this to happen and buy on break upward. Or if you trade higher from here, because we are still bullish from a short-term perspective, like of course short-term I mean M30. Okay, broke above this, impulse, correction, impulse, and we are currently here. We might trade higher. If we trade higher, I'll be looking for something like this and then sell on spec downward. We might also have this channel and so on. Okay, so if you want sorry okay, if you want, long story short, this is what I'm looking for: this sell or this buy, as I showed you from H4 time frame. USD JPY. This is indeed quite interesting. Let me check the comments real quick, and let me mute myself to cough. Okay. And I mean, hope you're doing good. I'm happy that you are happy with my style. Cheers. GTV, thoughts on psychological numbers? Yes, of course. Morning, Yi. Hope you're doing good. I mean, and GPUSD. Okay, I'll try my best to go over it, because we still got many to go over, like indices, crypto, and so on. But like I see many requests previously, like CHF JPY, like GP JPY. Okay, we're done. Gold already did it, and yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, so I'll try my best to go over these, because like I'm because I want to go over something else. So let me answer this one first. So like psychological numbers are very important if you know what you are looking for. And of course, like psychological numbers depends like on what asset or what chart you are looking for. Okay, so let me give you an example. So of course, like if you check, for example, USD JPY, the strongest like round numbers would be the 150, the 150, and so on, and of course, like the middle between these two, so 75, 125, and so on. Okay, so you can see the 125 right here, multiple like rejections from. And for example, if you check Bitcoin chart, right? So if you check Bitcoin chart, you can see that it's trading like between 10K and 70K. So the strongest round numbers would be like 10K, 20K, 30K, 40K, and so on. You've got the idea, right? So yes, they are very important, but they are only one confluence or one clue in your trading plan. Okay, so like don't sell solely because you got like a psychological level or a round number. Okay, so like it's just like support and resistance. We look for setups around around these round numbers. Okay, so this is pretty much it. Let me remove it to be able to focus on the chart. Okay, Horton, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. You are more than welcome. I'm happy that you are happy. You enjoying your analysis? Fantastic, Eugene. Okay, so looking for a broker commission, AFX, which I guess it's the sponsor of the Trading Nut channel. So of course, like when you have time, check it out. GP, JPY, the quarter numbers. We'll check it out hopefully. But first, I have like this list. I still have AUD, JPY, USD, and then the AUD card. So let's do it as quick as possible because we still have to go over the remaining ones. Like as you can clearly see, the indices, the crypto market, and so on. So for USD, JPY, we are overall bullish. Okay, so we already know that from a long-term perspective, we are from monthly, we are inside this impulse movement, trading higher. So we are speculating like hopefully soon after reaching this area, a deep correction like this, just like the previous one, because we are currently inside a rising channel. But of course, like this is monthly time frame. From a shorter term perspective, from daily and weekly, we are currently in this big bullish trend. Okay, so like this is why it's very important to start from the broader view to know like if this movement is an impulse, a correction, like or what. If you go to weekly time frame, this is pretty much it. As you can see, aggressive movement upward, very, very aggressive, because basically the JPY has been getting weaker and the USD has been getting stronger. Okay, so like this is why you see an aggressive movement upward on this one. And yes, very similar to like the DXY, the bears are trying to kick in. The correction movements are getting like bigger in size, and you can see that this impulse was big. This impulse is smaller, and let's see how this impulse will like how it will look like when it ends. Okay, if it's also smaller, it would mean that yeah, the bears are trying to kick in. The bulls are exhausted after, of course, after this big like bullish trend. But anyway, let's take it step by step. From monthly, we know that we might still test this upper area, which is lining up with this trend line, in my opinion, acting as an overbought area. That's why I draw this channel to feel the market. So impulse correction, if we get this impulse just like the previous one, chances are that we'll find rejection here. Okay, so like this is why I draw this channel to feel where we currently are. Anyway, this trend line is lining up with this like supply zone, which is still fresh. As you can see, a major high where we had an aggressive movement downward from. So yeah, we might still trade a little bit higher before finding a rejection, and we trade lower. And anyway, as you can see from daily, we are still bullish. Okay, from daily time frame, we are trading inside this impulse movement in a bullish trend, but you can clearly see that this impulse or the latest price action is going flat. So previously we got a steep impulse movement, a very strong one, right, with no with slightly like slight correction inside it. While here you can see this impulse movement, we are going even more flat, right, and the impulse are getting smaller, which is like a signal that we might have a shift in momentum from bullish to bearish, especially if you simply connect the highs. So connect this high and this high, you can clearly see that it's going like this, right? And for example, if this high ends here, it will go like this, okay? And like maybe later on, and we'll see this, okay? Anyway, let's take it step by step. So now we're approaching what? We're approaching this upper trend line from this channel from daily. Of course, we can still trade higher from here before we trade lower, but starting from here, I'll be looking for a reversal. And as price retest the lower band, which is this trend line, because we are bullish, I'll be looking for a trend following buy. Okay, so if you want, long story short, I can even add arrows just to know what we are looking for. We are looking for this, and we are looking for this. I also mark this one in blue. Let me make them appear only on daily time frame. Fantastic. If you go to H4, I can't really add much except that we are currently and this impulse movement, but we are speculating a reversal starting from the upper area. Like from H1 time frame, we can see that this last impulse movement is engulfed by a channel. So for the bears to take over and start the correction, we need to see a break below this channel. Okay. So what I'm waiting for USDJPY for the bears to take over, because we are clearly very bullish now, and we can still be bullish and trade inside the zone, right, like this. Okay. But for the bears to take over, we need to see a break below this trend line and the last major low. If this happens, then of course I'll be entering a sell. Here we go, stop loss above the previous high, and we target a 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. It depends on your risk management, which would be around the support area. And if we trade lower from here around this area, as mentioned from daily, I'll be looking for a trend following buy setup. But like meanwhile, I'm staying out from USDJPY because we are bullish and we can still trade higher from here. And I'm waiting for something like this to happen as mentioned. Okay, so this is USDJPY. On ADJPY, we can see a very similar scenario. We can go to weekly time frame, approaching this previous high, which is also a supply zone, and we also had a gap which is already filled anyway. So for weekly time frame, we are also approaching lacking the resistance. We are diving inside the resistance, and as you clearly see, the bulls are very, very weak. After this big impulse movement, we got stuck inside a rising range in the shape of a wedge pattern. So, like, of course, from a long-term perspective, I'm waiting for a break below this wedge pattern to speculate this correction. It would be just like this, a correction just like this. Okay, of course, from a short-term perspective, I'm looking for a sell, for a short-term sell from here till here. Okay, unless we break above this. In this case, we'll be expecting further movement upward. Okay. This is from daily time frame. We are currently retesting this previous high. This is a resistance zone, as we saw from weekly. So yeah, I'm still looking for the sell, unless again and again we break above it from daily. In this case, we'll be expecting further movement upward to the 100, which is like as someone asked, this is a very strong round number. The 90 was a strong round number. The 80, which was here, I guess around this area, was also a strong round number. But we'll be looking for setups who will not sell blindly, no matter how strong or obvious a round number is. So long story short, looking for setups. Here we go. So from H4 time frame, this is our last major low. So I'm waiting for a break below. That's why you see my alert right here. If you go to if you go to H1 time frame, you can see that we are currently trading inside a rising channel. So for the best to take over, as mentioned many times previously for my examples, I'm waiting for this break below the trend line and the last major swing low, which is very obvious anyway from H4 time frame. And anyway, if you want, you can make this trend line appear on H4. You can see it even better. Here we go. Okay, so if this happens when we have this break, of course the sell would be here. Okay, the stop loss will be above the previous high, and we target a 1 to 2 or even 1 to 3. It depends on your risk management. Okay, meanwhile, of course, and until this happens, you are what? You are bullish. Okay, and we can trade higher and higher, dive inside the zone before we trade lower, or even, as mentioned at the start, break it upward and trade higher. So if you go to H1 again, okay, let me minimize it, and that's it. So like this is the upper bound of the resistance, right, from daily and weekly, lining up with what? Lining up with this trend line, or also the upper bound of this bullish movement. So as we trade higher, I'll be zooming into lower time frames to M30 and look for this short-term sell, and then look for this sell, right, and then and then I'll be looking for, what is it, from weekly, and then I'll be looking for this sell. Okay, so like we've got a short-term one, a medium-term one, and a long-term one. But anyway, let's take it step by step. Okay, so this is my trading plan for AUD JPY. If price gets to here, I'll be looking for a sell from a short-term perspective, and if you break below this low, we can sell from a medium-term perspective. GD, what's your favorite pair, like pair to trade? I personally don't have a favorite pair. Like I on my watch list, because like I'm a swing trader. I have a 29 pairs on my watch list. How do you look? How do you look GPJPY? Okay, since many requested GPJPY, let's go over it, and then this would be it for the forex pairs. I guess someone also requested, yeah, we'll go over USD CAD and GPJPY. Okay, and this would be it. We'll be going over next the indices, and last but not least, because like you guys S500 and so on, and then we'll go over. We'll go over the crypto market. So let's go for GPJPY, since we are already uh, going over the JPY pairs. Okay, so this is GBP We are bullish, as we clearly see, making higher lows, higher highs, right? So until the last low is broken downward, which would be, as you can see, marked in gray. However, you can clearly see that lately GBP has been very, very choppy. Look at all these wicks, right? Up and down. Okay, so we want to break above this entire range or below it. Okay, we didn't really have a full close below this area to finally say that, yeah, we are going downward. And now we can clearly see that since the JPY, like the JPY is getting weaker now, because you can see all JPY pairs are going up, and you can see that GBP pairs like today and yesterday has been going up, so gaining strength. That's why you see this pair like is going upward in an aggressive manner. Okay, so now what I want is a break above these highs here. We can see it even better from daily time frame. This is it, right? So we have been trading inside this range. I've been waiting for this break, for a full break below it, as mentioned, from from weekly, because we got all these wicks here. So I wanted a break below all the previous wicks. In this case, I wanted to look for a sell on the retest, or if we trade lower, I'll be looking for buy stops here around the previous support and resistance. Now price is going higher, right? So let's zoom into H4 time frame, and we are currently trading inside this channel. So the bears might still kick in here and drive this one downward. If this daily candle close, we would close above this area, we would close above this previous high, and like invalidate this trend line. So if you close like this, then this channel should be deleted. It's not, we are no longer bearish in this particular case. And in this case, on the retest of this area, I'll be looking for like for a trend following buy. It would be where we have been bearish, major high, broken upward, so impulse, correction, and then impulse again. And of course, this is also a resistance zone. So if we trade higher, I'll be looking for a sell, I'll be looking for a buy, or if we trade higher directly from here, I'll be looking for a sell. And for the bulls to take over from a long-term perspective, as mentioned previously, we need to see a break above this high right here. If we break it higher, then we'll be expecting further movement upward to our next resistance, which we can see better from from monthly time frame. We can see this previous low. It's also a supply if you zoom into weekly time frame, and so on. Okay, we can see multiple multiple rejections from it here and here as well. So this is a massive resistance zone. But first, as mentioned, we would like to see a break above this high right here. This is for JPY. For USD CAD, okay, and like this would be it. Let me check the comments. This would be it for the. Okay, let me check the comments here quick. Okay, JPY done. Finance Vision, big fan of your work. Thank you so much. I'm happy to hear that. Did he do GBP CAD? No, I didn't go over GBP CAD. No, we didn't. But we're running out of time, so I have to go over the indices and the crypto market as well. So anyway, if you have time at the end, okay, I'll try my best to go over it as well. For now, we'll do USD CAD, and this would be it. Okay. Of course, this would be it for forex pairs. We'll go over the crypto market and the indices. How to get into your VIP group and how to join. I don't like to call it a VIP group. right? But you can simply check. What is it? Yeah, you can simply check this website, which is my website, www.htl.com. Okay, so this is it. And okay, of course, like, don't forget to use the coupon trading not for $100 off. Okay, so this is it, the website and the coupon, like of course, like on the checkout, you see a coupon section, simply write trading not. Okay, and okay, GD, because of the BOJ interest policies, expected JPY to be weak against other currency. Yes, very, very probable. GPUSD, thank you. So got GPUSD and GP card. You know what? I'll do USD card and I'll go over the indices and crypto market, and then I'll try my best to go over GP card and GPUSD as well. Okay. But let's keep moving forward to save time and to cover as much as possible. So USD CAD, we can clearly see that we are overall bullish, impulse correction, impulse. We are currently in this impulse movement, and we broke above this resistance zone. As you clearly see, it has been holding for a long period of time. Resistance previously, support multiple times, broken downward, resistance multiple times, and now we broke it upward. The next support resistance is clearly this one in blue. As you clearly see, resistance, support, resistance. So as we trade higher here, I'll be looking for sell setups. And since we broke above this resistance, now it's acting as support. So as we trade lower, I'll be looking for a trend following buy. This would be it. Okay. Daily time frame. Okay, so this is also like to see the overall bullish trend even more from weekly. Here we go. That's it, right? So this is the same trend line as I showed you. So on the retest of this area, I'll be looking for buy setups. For now, I'll be looking for a sell, knowing that USD CAD can still trade higher, dive inside this resistance before we trade lower. But since we're around the upper band, just like here, okay, the upper of the brown channel, I'll be looking for sell setups starting from here. Okay, so this is basically it. This is from H4. If we trade lower, I'll be looking for a buy, for a trend following buy from H4. And if we trade lower like this, I'll also be looking for a buy. So let me drag this one and put it here. Okay, and as we trade higher, I'll be looking for a sell right there. Okay, I can't really add much for now for USD CAD, but this one from H4, oops, delete this one. Okay, so this one from H4, I'm looking for a buy. So if we do like this, I'll be buying USD CAD as a trend following buy, just like here, right? Impulse, and the impulse started, waiting for this impulse movement to start, and then we'll be expecting a movement till the resistance zone. So if you want, long story short, for USD CAD, for now I'm staying out, waiting for this to happen to go long or to buy, or if we trade higher from here again around this area, I'll be looking for a sell. That's it for the Forex pairs. Like we covered so much, GP, JPY, and sorry, GP CAD and GPUSD. I'll try my best to go over it at the end. Okay. So now let's go over the indices. Okay, we've got multiple ones, so I'll try to cover them quickly, and then we'll go over the crypto markets. Okay, so if you want an index that's not here, feel free to request it now, and later on you can request any altcoin or crypto instrument. So for US 500, which is like also like very, very important to keep an eye on when it comes to crypto or when it comes to stocks. Okay, it's very, very important to feel the overall market, just like the DXY, right? When you feel the entire market, especially the Forex market. On US 500, it's also important. And as you can see, when US 500 is around the support, you will see the XY around a resistance, right? So here we go, the XY around the resistance. Okay, US 500 around a support zone. Anyway, we are overall bearish, trading inside this falling broadening wedge, right? So here we go, and we are currently approaching a strong support and resistance zone. You can clearly see it by these arrows, right? So I made it easier for you to see it. Support, broken downward, resistance, broken upward, support. So like now acting as what? Obviously as a support zone. Okay, that's our support one. And then we've got support 2, because if we break it downward, then this would be our next rejection zone. Okay, if and only if we break it downward. For now, this is not only a support, but also, as you see from this box, it's a demand zone. Okay, and price is currently filling it. Let me remove it. So here we go, an aggressive movement upward. Anyway, let's delete it to keep the chart clean for now. So a demand zone and a support zone. Previously, the bears took over around this upper area, and we are currently bearish. That's our impulse correction, and we are currently in this impulse movement downward. From H4 time frame, that's our last major high for now. We are currently stuck here, and this is how you can feel the market. So previously, this big impulse movement, and then correction, and a big impulse movement. But look at now, we are stuck, which means that the bears aren't strong enough to make big impulse movements like just like previously. Of course, they can still be able to do it, but like for now, we are stuck inside the range. So if the bulls kick in and break above this high, we will have a shift in momentum from bearish to bullish. Okay, so now from like on US 500, that's why you see my alert here. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm waiting for this break. If this happens, then we'll be speculating a bullish movement till the 4150. Also, we've got these lows. Also, we've got this supply zone. So this entire zone, which includes a supply resistance, previous lows, which is the neckline of the head and shoulders, okay, and also a supply zone. So this is entire area is a good area to speculate a bearish continuation if you want. So now around the support, we'll be looking for bust ups, looking for the bulls to take over to drag the price upward. Meanwhile, if we break below the zone, we'll be as speculating a trend continuation on the downside till around our next support zone. So US 500 is currently around a critical zone. So let's see how it goes. Long story short, looking for a buy unless broken downward, speculating further bearish movements. On US 100, a very similar scenario. Anyway, you can see it like you can see it all over the place, right? A rejection on the top, trade it lower around the demand or support. The exact same thing for US 100. Okay, if you go to weekly time frame, we can see that 12K is a support and resistance. So multiple rejections from it previously as a resistance, support now, resistance, and now acting as support. If broken downward, then the next one would be the 11K. Okay, so also round number, and so on. So just like US 500, as we are here now, we are speculating this bullish movement. If the bulls take over, it would be a correction movement. So impulse, correction, impulse. We're taking this correction before maybe the next impulse movement downward start. But let's take it step by step. We are currently here. Let's look for bar setups. If you go to H4, the exact same zone we saw on US 500, that's it, right? So as you can see, very, very similar price action. So we want this break, and then we'll be speculating this bullish movement till where the exact same thing as US 500, previous lows, supply zone, and this zone here. So speculating this movement till this area. Meanwhile, we are bearish, right? So we can still break it downward and keep on trading lower and lower. In this case, if we break below the 12K with a big daily candle, then we'll be speculating or expecting a movement till the 11K. On US 30, very similar. Here we go. So you can see like almost exactly the same chart. If you go to weekly, okay, can't really add much except that this is a strong support and resistance zone. The 30K is a massive one, right? So if we trade lower, of course, we'll be looking for bar setups. For now, we're approaching this minor one, support and resistance, as you can see here, which is also a demand zone. So that's it. Here we go. Okay, and if you drag and drop it like this, okay, that's it. Support, resistance, as I showed you from weekly, right, multiple times, and now price is above it, so it's acting as support. So we'll be speculating this movement again and again till where? Till this low supply zone and the 33K, which is also a support and resistance zone. If and only if we break above, I don't have the zone here. Why? I'm not sure. Here we go. Okay, let's make it an orange for it to be the exact same one as US 100 and US 500. So if you break it upwards, or speculating a bullish movement, and you are currently also trading inside this channel. So if we dive inside the zone like this, and here we go, okay, then we'll be speculating a bullish movement, unless again and again we break below this zone, then we'll be speculating a movement at the 30k main support zone. Okay, on GR 30, again, also around 12k.5 support zone. If we break it downward, then a movement to the next support will be expected, 11.5k. Also, this big demand, the upper bound of it, the lower bound of it. Okay, anyway, we are still here now. If you go to daily, you can see it even better. Support multiple times. We are currently here speculating this bullish movement. Then we've got what this previous low supply zone lining up with this trend line. So this would be a massive zone. Of course, price can still reject this one right here. Okay, so starting from here till here. So this is this entire zone. Okay, it would be a trend following one. So long story short, for GER, we'll be looking for a buy here. If you go to H1, the exact same channel we saw on US 30, I'll be waiting for this and then a break above it, and the exact same zone we saw on sorry, the exact same zone we saw on H4. This would be the zone. Let me check. Together go forever. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what you mean, but thanks. Okay, let's go for US oil. Okay, we can see an aggressive movement downward now in oil. We are currently trading lower. We are bearish. Yes, we already know that. If you go to weekly time frame, we are approaching a strong or massive support and resistance. We can see it even better from monthly time frame. This is indeed a massive zone. It's a demand zone, aggressive movement upward from here. It's a support and resistance zone. So around 75 to 80, this is a support where we're looking or speculating a bullish movement from. Okay, and of course, if we trade higher from here, we'll be looking for a trend following sell, because from H4 or from weekly, we are already like below the previous low. So we have been bullish previously, but now we broke below this massive low. From daily time frame, we already broke. Of course, like if you remember, someone asked about it previously. We had a wedge pattern here, broken downward. We traded lower, right? So from a short-term perspective, the bears took over here after retesting the supply zone, and now we broke below this major low. Sorry. Okay, so now as we approach this support, which is also lining up with this trend line showing us the over direction, so impulse correction, and you are currently speculating this bullish movement. It would be what? It would be a correction of this bearish movement. So okay, I'll show it to you. So now we are bearish, right? Here we go. So we are speculating what? An impulse, a correction, and then an impulse movement downward, okay? As we approach this, we'll be looking for a buy since it's at support. It would be what? We are catching this correction, okay, of this bearish impulse correction, bearish, right? So that's it. And here we go from H4 time frame. I can't really. Oops, that's the zone from I drew from daily and week. Anyway, I'll delete the gray zone. But now we've got an inverse head and shoulders, or we've got, here we go, or we've got a double bottom forming. Anyway, let's see how it goes. For the bulls to take over here, we need to see a break above this high. When we break above it, the correction movement would start. It would be this one, impulse correction, and then we'll be looking for the next impulse movement downward. Okay, I'm sorry about the noise. I don't know if you can hear it. Meanwhile, and as we approach this lower area here, I'll be zooming in also to lower time frames like H1 and M30. Okay, of course, as we approach this area to look for short-term buy setups, it would be, let me draw it to you in a better manner. Here we go, and offset for it. That's it. Okay, so we would be catching this correction movement like this. So long story short, for US oil, waiting for this break to speculate the correction to start upward. And of course, like we will buy and then we will be looking for a sell, or I'll be looking for a buy. So these are the three scenarios that I'm looking for: this buy, this sell, and this buy. Let's okay. Now that's it for the indices. And check the comments. Let me take a break, and then I'll go over the crypto market. Okay, so like, you know what, to save time, since like total is very, very similar to Bitcoin, I'll skip total and go for USDT dominance. Okay, we'll go over USDT dominance, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then if I guess still got time, we'll go over a couple of ones. If you want to go over a specific crypto instrument, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I will keep an eye on it. So first, I'll go over the three: USDT dominance, Bitcoin, and Ethereum to feel the market. Okay, and then I'll check the comments to see if some of you requested like any altcoin. Okay, here we go. So on USDT dominance, we are currently approaching a resistance zone. We can clearly see it from a daily time frame. Resistance, support, resistance here, and we are currently around this resistance. Yes, we are bullish, right, from a medium-term perspective, from H4, and from daily we can see it. So last high, broken upward, correction, impulse, and we are currently in this correction. So yeah, we might have this impulse movement, and if we have this one, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good for the crypto market. We previously rejected this demand zone. We traded higher, so let's delete it for now. And we are currently around a very, very critical zone, which is very similar to the XY around the resistance, US 500 around the support. So yeah, so like now this is how you feel the market. So a correction, we might have this impulse. If we have it, it wouldn't be good. If you go to H4, this is it. Okay, so we are bullish here, but as you can see, the impulse movements are getting smaller. We are going flat here. The bulls couldn't kick higher for now. Okay, so this is the correction. The bulls took over. This is the correction. If we break it higher like this, it wouldn't be good. We'll be expecting further movement upward. Now, to have an overextended correction and to trade lower, at least from a short-term perspective, we would like to see a break below the slope. If we break below it, we'll be expecting further movement downward. So these are the two possible scenarios. Let's see which way USD dominance is going to break. If you break above the resistance, in this case, a movement higher to the next resistance would be expected to around 8%. Okay. Now let's go to Bitcoin. Since we fell from the USD dominance where we currently are on Bitcoin, we are still around the 1820K support, which is also the previous all-time high from 2018. Okay, and it's also this little demand zone. If you zoom in, that's the only consolidation or even bearish candles inside this big demand zone. Sorry, this is a big bull run. Okay, that's the only consolidation. That's why this is a massive demand zone and price is currently sitting around it. Next, if we broken downward, then the next rejection would be around this demand, because this is where the bull run previously or originally started, right? So long story short, this one lining up with what? 20K round number, and this one lining up with what? The 10K round number, and the 10K is also lining up with the support and resistance. Previously had resistance, support, broken upward, so now it's acting as a support zone. So like for someone who asked, let me try and find him. Where is it? Okay, I can't. Yeah, here we go. So just like YNL asked, I see Bitcoin dropping to 5K, right? So for Bitcoin to drop to 5K, first we need to break below the 20K, below the 10K, okay? And then, yes, we might see the 5K, which would be around here. Here we go. Okay, the 5K would be this support and resistance, and then it's also a round number. But first, we need to see this break. Okay, So don't so of course don't try to predict the next 10 years movement. Like, okay, Bitcoin is going to like 75k. Okay, yes, but first we need to break above the 30k, 40k, 50k, 60k, right, and so on. So yes, we might go to 5k if we break this, and then go lower. For now, let's take it step by step. Don't predict, just react. Wait for the market to make the first move and then react accordingly. We are currently still around the 18k, 20k support, so we are still waiting for this bullish movement, okay, till the next resistance again, and then we trade lower from here. Or for this break, in this case, we'll be seeing or speculating a movement till the 10 to 12k. And for the bulls to take over, okay, for the bulls or for the next bull run to start, we need a break above three things. Okay, so always remember, for an entire shift in momentum to start, we need three steps. The first one is we have a channel, a break above the channel. So that's one. Okay, so like this, tick. Second, above the last major high, which is for now here. Second, tick. Third, above the last major resistance, which is the 30k. So this is it. Okay, three steps, then tick, then we can say that, yeah, we are now bullish. Okay, but until we see this, we can't really say much. We are inside a consolidation, just like this. Okay, we might trade higher like this and then trade lower, because why? We didn't have a break above the last major resistance. Okay, so then this one here is very similar to this price action right here. Okay, now if we trade lower, okay, we'll need what? Three things, which would be what? Here we go. A break above the last high. This would be it. Break, tick. Second, trend line, tick. And third, the last major resistance, which would be the 20k in this case. Okay, so like always remember three steps, three phases for an entire shift in momentum. Anyway, let's take it step by step. We are currently around the 18-20k support, so let's take it in a very straightforward manner. That's the view from daily time frame. We are currently retesting the support area, so if the bulls take over, we'll be expecting a bullish movement. And now I'll go even and take it a step further from H1 time frame. And you can, if you want, you can see it better from H4, but like I have my drawings on H1. Okay, and if you want, I can simply show it to you like this, make it appear on H4, and that's it. Okay, here we go. Okay, you know what, since we have the zone here, let's do it from H1. Okay, so now we are trading inside this symmetric triangle, right? So and the longer the consolidation will last, okay, the closer the breakout would be. Okay, so now let's see which way this one is going to break. Of course, now we're in a bearish trend. Okay, we already know it, we're in a bearish trend, so most probably we'll have a trend continuation break, which would be a break below this lower zone, this lower area, like this. If we break below it, this entire consolidation, then the bears will remain in control and will be speculating a bearish movement till the lower band, till the 18k zone. But this would only be a short-term bearish movement, because we would still be inside the 18k. So we can still speculate this movement, and then the bulls will take over, okay, by breaking above the last major high, which would become this one. Unless we see this break, then yes, we'll be speculating further bearish movement till this lower area. Okay, for now, if we break below it, we'll be speculating a movement till the 18k. From a short-term perspective, for the bulls to start and kick in and show us they are strong enough to at least break a minor high. For now, we still need to see a break above this high. If we break broken upward, then we'll need to see a break above this high. Okay, if we break it upward, short term, the bulls take over. But for the bulls to take over from a medium term perspective, we need to see a break above this high right here. If we see this break, that's why you see my alerts here and here, right? And that's why you see my alerts inside the 18 and below the 18 in case we broke it downwards. Okay, so if the bulls break above this medium term, then we'll be speculating a bullish movement. If we break above the short term, we'll be speculating a movement upward till here, but this would be the last major high from H4. Okay, that's it. Here we go. Okay, that's our last major high from H4. So if we break above this, we might reject this one and trade lower again. Okay, or if we do like this, if we form this bearish movement, then here we go. Let me delete everything to show it to you in a cleaner manner. Here we go. If we move like this, okay, and here we go, this would become our last major high, and if we break it higher, then the bulls will take over and we will trade higher. Okay, unless of course we keep on trading lower and form a big daily candle close below the 18K. And I'll show you the daily candle close about what I exactly mean. How do you really know that? Yeah, it's getting broken. You check the previous ones. Here we go. So this is how the 40K zone was broken downward, okay, by this big bearish candle. And this is how the 30K was broken downward. So we didn't really have this candle yet, okay? So if we have this candle, let me drag and drop it. Here we go, like this. In this case, of course, full big bearish candle, we'll be speculating a further movement downward. Okay, let's go for Ethereum as well before I check the comments to see if you guys requested any altcoin. On Ethereum, we rejected the 1500. We are trading higher from here. The 2K is a massive resistance, as you clearly see, resistance, support, and currently or previously the price rejected it downward. So for the bulls to take over here from a long-term perspective, we still need to see this break above this area here. Okay, in this case, we'll be speculating a bullish movement unless it would be a correction movement like this, and then we'll break it downward. We'll be speculating a bearish movement. Okay, but anyway, let's take it step by step. For now, we are trading inside, if you want to call it, this floor. Okay, that's our support, that's our resistance. That's from weekly time frame. If you go to daily time frame, okay, we are approaching a minor support and resistance, which we can see even better from H4 time frame. The bulls are clearly pushing. The bulls took over here from a short-term perspective, and then we are now in a bullish trend. I guess like I made a drawing, like yeah, like this is it. Anyway, like this already happened, but like just to show you the overall movement. Okay, so we have been bullish as mentioned from H4 starting from here. So now we are stuck inside a bullish rising channel. We are making higher highs and higher lows. Sorry, higher lows and higher highs. Okay, so we were looking for trend following by around this area, but we might still reject this resistance, which we saw from daily resistance, and so on. So for the bulls to remain in control and trade higher to the 2K, we need to see a break above this. That's why you see my alert around this area. Okay, so if you see this break, then we're speculating a movement till the 2K. And yeah, now we can draw a channel here, a rising one, which is anyway the same one we saw on H1 that's not visible here on H4. Okay, you can make it bigger like this, and this would be a very interesting area, supply resistance. So if we see any kind of reversal here, we'll be speculating a bearish movement till this one. If broken downward, we'll be speculating a movement till this one, which where I have my alert, okay, around here. In case we approach the 1500, I'll be looking for a buy. Now, since the 1500 is a support, as we approach the 1500, I'm also looking for buy setups around it, okay. Unless it's broken downward, then the next support will be the 1250, which is in fact, let me remove the drawing. Sometimes I get overexcited. Here we go. These highs here. If we break below the 1500, then I'll add my alerts here, okay, and I'll be looking for buy stops, and then the support would be the 1K, the next one. But for now, we are bullish, but we would like to see this break for further bullish movements to be expected. Okay. Okay, I'll take a little break. Let me know if you want me to go over a specific altcoin. Cheers. Not really sure if the comment section is working. I guess it is. And of course, everyone, don't forget to like this video to help it reach as many traders as possible. Of course, if you believe the content is worth sharing and like is useful for other traders. Okay, DAF, Gem, okay, Solana, let's do it. Okay, this is one shouldn't be visible here on daily. Let me remove it. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so on Solana we have been we have been in a bearish trend, of course, just like the entire crypto market. So for the bulls to take over, we need to see a break above the 50. That's why I have my alert right here. So if we break it upward, we'll be expecting a movement till the 75, which is our next rejection zone. It might be a correction just like this. So if we break higher, we'll have this correction just like this one, and then we might drop lower before we finally trade higher, if we will ever trade higher again. Meanwhile, we'll be retesting this 20, which is a support resistance, demand zone, and so on. I have my alert here, and just to know that price is diving inside it. I'll be also looking for basket up. So if you want, long story short, from daily time frame, that's it from daily. I'm waiting for, here we go, let me move it aside because like this analysis was old. Here we go. So I'm waiting for this break above this entire range, and if we trade lower, just like you saw from H4, which is this one here we go. Okay, so the bears already took over by breaking below this rising channel. We are now bearish, so yes, we might still trade lower till this area. If we trade lower, I'll be looking for bust stops as mentioned around this alert. For now, for the bulls to take over, like of course from a short-term perspective, we need to see this break. In this case, a movement higher, a short-term one would be expected, but we might even trade lower from here because we are overall bearish, so it would be just a correction before the next bearish movement trade lower. But from a long-term perspective, if we trade higher and break above the 50, then we'll be speculating another big bullish movement upward. Okay, let me go over sand. You know what? Let's go over link first. Okay, link. Okay, on link, this is basically it. Like because I have my drawings. That's why I picked it. Okay, so on link, we are currently trading inside this whole range. We are forming most probably a big inverse head and shoulders pattern. Here we go. Okay, a big inverse head and shoulders pattern. For the bulls to take over, we need to see a break up of what? Resistance, last high, trend line. Trend line already broken. Resistance and last high is simply happens to be the same, which is the round number 10. Okay, so by breaking above the 10, we would broke above our three things. Okay, our three phases. This would be it from a long-term perspective. Meanwhile, if we retest the support again, of course, we'll be looking for bust stops from a short-term perspective. From H4 time frame, this is it. The bulls already took over from a very short-term perspective. Okay, and now we want this one to be broken. Of course, we might still trade a little bit lower to form an inverse head and shoulders, maybe. All right, and then break the neckline upward. But this is the last major high for now from H4. So if we break it upward, the bulls will take over from a short-term perspective. And meanwhile, we can still trade lower. If we trade lower from you reject this area, trade lower like this, I have my alert here around the 5. I'll be looking for this buy. Okay, that's it for link. For sand, let me check the comments if you guys have any comments. Okay, rose. Okay, I'll go over rose after sand. And if you don't have any requests after rose and sand, we'll call it a session, and that would be it. So let me know in the comments if you want to go over a specific one. Sand, very similar to link. Okay, so like here we go. Oops, yeah, I'm trying my best like to cover all the drawings in one Here we go. Okay, so got a demand zone, as you clearly see. Price is currently testing it. For the bulls to take over, we need to see a break above this last major high, which is also an inverse head and shoulder, a big inverse head and shoulders. If you break above it, which is would be also above the 1.5, we'll be trading higher. This is our first resistance, as you clearly see, and then this would be our next resistance, as you clearly see. Okay. Meanwhile, of course, we'll be also looking look for buy on lower time frames inside the zone. We'll be looking for short-term buy setups. That's it from a short-term perspective. That's it from a medium-term perspective. Like personally, I'm waiting for the upper one. Okay, which is around 1.1, because like this, this would be just an early alert that the buyers are taking over, but I'm waiting for this one. If we break it upward, we'll be expecting this movement, but then for the long-term perspective, we need to see a break above this. Of course, meanwhile, and until the bulls take over, sand would be overall bearish, and we can still trade lower and lower inside the support zone. Okay, Rose. I'm not sure if I have my drawings here, but let's check. Okay, yeah, I don't have my drawings for a long period of time. Okay, on Rose, we've got this one around 0.5. Let me fix it. Here we go, 0.5 round number, broken upward, and simply the one round number, sorry, 0.1. Here we go. Okay, so this is our last major high, lining up with a 0.1 round number. Next, we've got this one around, let's go for 0.2 first, the resistance, and then make an offset for it to be like 175. Oops, 75. That's it. Okay, let's make these two in green. You know what? Let's keep this one in blue and go for this one in green. That's it. For the bulls to take over, anyway, as you can see, price the bulls took over here. We had our first impulse. We are currently in this correction, and we are speculating this next impulse movement upward. So from a short-term perspective, since we are retesting this demand zone, also as mentioned, impulse correction, impulse, we are speculating this bullish movement, looking for bus stops, knowing that Rose can still trade a little bit lower to fill this demand zone entirely, retesting the 0.05 again or around this area before trading higher. But we are looking for bus stops starting from now. We can see this short-term, medium term, the one that we saw on Link and Sun, the exact same thing. From a long-term perspective, we'll be waiting for a break above this high. We'll be speculating here bullish even higher, but let's take it step by step. From H4 time frame, that's our last major high, and that's the last one, a minor one, which would be an early alert. Okay. Meanwhile, if you break below the previous low, we'll be speculating further bearish movement, and then we'll be updating these ones like this and like this. Okay. But we are waiting for the bulls to take over by breaking above one of these two zones. It depends on your risk appetite, or it depends on your trading style. But this is the major one that we want to break above. Yeah, Def already went over Solana previously. Okay, so that would be it for today. Like we spent over 1 hour and 25 minutes, but like it's good. Like we covered as many as possible, from forex pairs to crypto to indices. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, don't forget to like this video to help it reach as many trades as possible. And again, Cam, thank you so much for this opportunity every single month. Okay, Khalid requested Jasmine. Okay, we'll do this one, and then we'll end it. Okay, you're more than welcome, King Artas. Dan, you're more than welcome. But yes, since Khalid requested Jasmine, I can't say no. But like this piece, this is the last one. Okay, Jasmine. Let me check. Okay. Okay, I don't know why this one is boost takeover. Let me check if my drawings are like updated or not. Okay, fantastic. Let's add one more now. Okay, oops. let's delete this one. Here we go, right? So let's update it because like it was an old one. I still have my alert right here. As you can see, for the boost to take over, I want to break above. Here we go. This last major high. Okay, well, I can stock inside this range, like in the shape of a triple bottom, if you want. Or anyway, it's a whole range. I'm not going for this. I prefer to go for this one for extra confirmation, because this one has been like stuck inside a big range for a long period of time. And which also is the round number 0.01. Okay, so I'm waiting for this break to go long or to buy Jasmine. It depends if you trade it on spot or on margin. Depends on you, but like I personally like just buy it and hold it for the long run, and that's it. Okay, meanwhile, of course, Jasmine would be bearish and we can still trade lower from here. That's why it's very important to wait for the boost to take over, no matter how strong a support is, no matter how strong a round number, a demand, no matter how strong a rejection is in general. Don't ever buy blindly, especially in a tricky bearish market. Always wait for extra confirmation, and keep in mind that no matter what you are buying now, you are buying a correction. Okay, so in a bearish market, every bullish movement is simply a correction before the next bearish impulse movement starts, until we break above this and we start to trade higher. In this case, every bearish movement would be a correction, and then it can be called as a dip, right? So you can buy the dip. For now, like this is not a dip. This is like you can catching a falling knife. Okay, in a bearish trend, every bearish movement is not a dip. It's a lower low. It's a going further lower, signaling that it's getting weaker and weaker. Okay, so every bullish movement now would be a correction before maybe the next impulse movement starts. So that's it for. Sorry about that. Okay, Dev, you're more than welcome. I'm happy that you are enjoying it. I'll see you hopefully next month, and I'm happy to see you guys, everyone, and have a good day. Be safe, and most importantly, trade safe. Goodbye, everyone.